Yeah, that was good. What's up, y'all, guys and gals? I've got amazing guests here with me today, and as you guys come in, there's dozens and dozens popping here, which is great. As you guys come in, we've got a cool announcement. Now, you guys probably already saw what the announcement is, that we acquired a company, and we're going to kind of tell the backstory of that, how it's going to help Carrot customers, how it's going to help InvestorFuse customers, who these two amazing gentlemen are here on the screen, and we've got a couple of guests too. We've got Tyler Ford. And we've got Brandon, who's an amazing investor. Tyler and Brandon are both investors, different parts of the country, in completely different businesses. You know, one has really scaled the business, has a full sales team, sales floor. He's got the fancy spinner, prize wheel in the background that we'll have a chance to see. And then Tyler's more of the solo operator, and they both use both tools, and they both use InvestorFuse to automate, win back more of their time, and build businesses of freedom and impact. But yeah, as you guys are popping in here, let me know what your name is. Are you an investor? Are you an agent? We've got Sir Ashley. What's up, dude? I haven't connected with you in a while. We've got Tom. I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I'm going to give it a go. Is it Laney? Is it Laney from San Diego? I was just in San Diego last week. But pop in, guys. Let us know your name, your business, and we're going to talk about this amazing partnership. So before we do, I want to introduce you to a gentleman here on the call. But we've got John Whitfield, who's the CEO of InvestorFuse, and we've got Carlos Zamora, who is the head of sales and really helps to work with a lot of customers and investors to bring them into the platform and serve them well. And I'll give a quick backstory, then I'm going to toss over to you guys to kind of introduce yourselves, and we'll just talk about the partnership. There is going to be an amazing opportunity if you're using both tools at certain plan levels to actually bundle your pricing and save. So guys, I've been watching a lot of insurance commercials, and insurance commercials say bundle your home and auto and save. So we're like bundling your InvestorFuse and Carrot and Save. But backstory here, I remember this is probably, John, what year specifically did InvestorFuse start?
Oh man, I always get this wrong. 2016 is what I want to say.
February 2016.
Yeah, that sounds about right. And I remember being on a call with the founder, Dan Schwartz, who we all know well, an amazing dude. And Dan was talking about this company idea that he had, and he had a Podio-based system. And he was really, really the guy. Like him and Joe McCall were kind of the guys who were building out all these Podio setups. So if anyone wants to know how Podio became popular in real estate, it was because of this crew, right? It's because Dan and this crew. Yeah. And then what happened was that as I was talking with Dan and got to know Carlos, we had an amazing steak dinner in Dallas, Texas years and years ago, and then got to know John more this past year. Really started to see the vision adjust and really shift with the market, shift with the needs of the client. And really seeing the Podio-based systems, how they have so many amazing ways you can customize, but they can be a big burden on the team, a big burden on the company. We saw Podio go down for several days a couple of years ago, and that was kind of a good kind of wake-up call for many people. And really, Podio isn't built for doing what we do, and you have to kind of Frankenstein it together. It can work really good, but you've got to get it there, and then there's all these Frankenstein parts. So what they set out to do was said, let's build a system from the ground up that is not based on Podio, but that brings the best elements of Podio in and really eliminates the parts that we all hate about Podio. And they'd launched 2.0 and elephant in the room. That launch didn't go as well as we'd all hoped, but you know what? It paved the way for what became 3.0. And that's when we stepped in with the crew about a year and a half ago to say there might be an opportunity to dive in and work together. You know, how can we take your mission, which is very, very closely tied to our mission at Carrot, to really help you save time and help you build businesses of freedom and impact. We'll kind of talk about that here in a bit. You know, we ended up being able to make a transaction that worked amazingly well for everybody, and now we're going to be able to take it with the leadership of the team here and the amazing team behind them and really take it to the next level. But I want to do an official introduction. John, why don't you kind of, a couple minutes, introduce who you are, what do you do at InvestorFuse, and how has this past several months and year kind of been in the whirlwind of now being a part of the Carrot community?
Yeah, absolutely. John, so I've been with InvestorFuse from the beginning. So my original role was CTO, Chief Technology Officer. So I was the Podio guy that knew how to tie things together back at our beginning. And what we really found out was, like, we weren't able to create a solution that made it easy for employees in real estate investing companies to do the work that they need to do every single day. Because we couldn't change the interface, because we had to like use a bunch of different areas, it just required too much like downloaded knowledge base in somebody's head. And so we set out off on that journey to make something better. And one of the key things that we really wanted to focus on is making sure we built something just for acquisition teams. Our Podio system at the beginning was everything, right? It like had transactions in there and dispo functionalities and cash buyers. And when you have that many different areas that you're really focused on, you ultimately end up not being good at any of them because you're just swathing across the board and not really diving in. So when we took that leap off of Podio and said, we're just going to do acquisitions. We just want to make it easy for people to bring all their leads into one place and work through them as fast as humanly possible. And yeah, we had a lot of ups and downs on that. And, our 2.0 launch did not go as great. It was our first time building the software by ourselves from the ground up, and we made some mistakes in that. And we certainly learned from them. And now we have a lot better development team, a lot better technology stack behind the software that we're currently on, with a ton of users thoroughly enjoying it. And it is really the best and fastest tool out there for acquisitions teams to process their leads and to get deals under contract. Only now, like really in the last month, have we started to say, okay, let's start looking at and working on a transaction system because we are confident our acquisition system can get more deals under contract for our customers. It's been a fun ride. I mean, life is all about learning, and these past 6 years has been the best learning experience ever for how to have my own team, how to interact with customers, how to have a great product. And I was really excited when Trevor and Carrot came to us and said, let's look to see what kind of synergy there might be. Because like I said, we have only focused on one thing for the last 4 years, which is acquisitions. Never have we wanted to get into the lead generation space. Never do we want to, right? Like there are other companies out there that do that way better than us. And we just wanted to be in our lane, focused on what we're doing. And what Carrot has done, not only in their product, but also in their team and how they work with customers, is exactly how we treat our customers. So it was like this beautiful blend of the two teams, just the same ideals, the same vision, the same excitement for every day going out there and making sure that we are providing the best solution and the best support and the best experience for our customers. So it's been phenomenal working together. And the things that we've built this year and what's coming up in the future are just really aligning with how can you generate the best leads on Carrot websites and bring them into the best system for lead management.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And guys, I want to introduce Carlos. So Carlos, like I said, we met in person. I think the first time was in Dallas. It might have been at a different event. I'm not sure, but one of the things I love about
San Diego back in the day.
Dude, there we go.
Like 2017.
It was. Was that a Kent Clothier's event or was it something different?
It was either Kent Clothier. I think it may have been a Kent Clothier event.
That's right. And dude, guys, one of the things I absolutely love about Carlos, and why I was so pumped to be able to work with Carlos and the InvestorFuse team, is I love his energy. I love his passion for helping to serve, now our clients. And he's talked to probably thousands of investors over the phone to really dig into their businesses and help them and bring, tons of them into the InvestorFuse platform. So Carlos, why don't you give a quick intro, who you are, what do you do? Why are you passionate about what you do at InvestorFuse, but also maybe a quick snippet on what are some of the conversations you're seeing happening right now with investors that's leading them to choose InvestorFuse as their follow-up and lead management system?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an honor to be on here. To echo John, we've been longtime fans of Carrot. I'm on the annual calls every year with Trevor. I started off wholesaling right when I got out of college, 2014, 2015, 16. We had a Carrot site. We had AdWords nerds doing PPC to it our last year exclusively, and then just following up with old leads. I wholesaled with Dan Schwartz, so I worked with him for 9-ish years total, and he asked if I would help wholesalers essentially use Podio. And I found out, for you guys that all do the energy audit, myself included, I got way more energy from helping wholesaling companies across the country utilize a CRM, find little tiny leverage points that gave massive results on the back end, and pretty much got brought on full time shortly after that. So that's something that really gives me energy. I've been doing it, like I said, February 2016. Get tons of energy from that. Had a great conversation with Jimmy Murray out of Rhode Island today. He was at the last Carrot Camp.
Yep.
He's like, man, tell Trevor I said what's up. He's working with Andy and Keith as well. And an issue that he's having is he's buying deals from wholesalers and he's seeing how much they're making. And he's like, man, you know what? I could just get a Carrot site coming in. I could have evergreen leads coming in and just like a simple tool for managing my team's follow-up. And I can save this money evergreen marketing and just source all our own deals. Yep. But a lot of the conversations are people that just are spending, if I had to synthesize it, like they're spending more time working on and building out their CRM than they actually are on the business and following up with leads where you make money.
Dude, I was at InvestorFuse a couple months ago and talked with multiple people who had invested $20,000 to $50,000 in the build out of the CRM. And with both of them, it wasn't even done yet, but they're pumped about it because they're already pot committed, right? So you gotta be semi pumped that you're like, oh my gosh, I don't want to reinforce that I made a potentially bad decision, right? And so there's some things that we're doing to really make it so we have the best product. There's some things we're going to continually improve, right? We're going to talk about some of those improvements on this call. So John's going to walk through improvements that have already happened this past 6 months and what we've got coming down the pike. But that's one of our aims. You shouldn't have to invest $20,000 to $50,000 up front to get something that manages your leads, manages your team, and wins you back time. That's just because they're able to sell it, and we're going to be able to really bring you an amazing tool. And that's a great tool, right? Great people behind it, great tool. We're just going to come and disrupt the market a bit. But I love that. John, if you could bring up the slide and kind of walk through the one slide of what the heck is InvestorFuse for people who are wondering. And then what have you guys had a chance to really roll up your sleeves and do this past, couple quarters? And then we'll talk at the end of the call, y'all, about what's coming next. And I'm really, really excited about what's coming next. There is going to be a bundle pricing that we're going to be opening up now for Carrot and InvestorFuse members. So if anyone's thinking recession and inflation, well, we're going to be helping people who are joining certain plan types at both systems to kind of give you that economies of scale and be able to save. So we'll talk about what that looks like. But toss over to you, John. What the heck is InvestorFuse? And then what have you guys had a chance to work on this past 6 months?
Yeah, absolutely. So, CRM is the generic term to describe what we've built, but I think the key term that I want everybody to remember from this kind of live stream that we're doing here is action-based. We are all about you promising a seller something and delivering on that promise. And so every single lead in the system only ever has one action at a time. And whenever you say that, like you said that due date in the future, that's a promise you're making that seller that I'm going to call you at this date. I'm going to attempt to reach you again at this date. I'm going to come see your house at this date. I'm going to follow up on this offer I sent you at this date. And so we've made it incredibly simple with a plug and play system for you to be held accountable to those actions. And it's ultimately about time, right? Like Trevor, you mentioned the cost that can go into some of these systems, but it's the time saved too, to be able to just log into InvestorFuse, sign up, get started, and then you'll be able to get your leads and work into the system in a matter of hours, not days, weeks, months. And so we've spent this year really focusing on how do we help people process those leads and in speed through cleaning up their pipeline and making sure that they're following up. So the first thing that I wanted to call out is that we have an amazing integration with Smartphone. If you haven't heard of Smartphone, you will. So Smartphone is a VoIP solution that targets and focuses on building solutions for real estate investors, just like Carrot, just like InvestorFuse. They focus on the real estate investing marketplace. And so they've integrated with us. It's an amazing click-to-call solution, phenomenal for getting everybody on your team in one place with their own phone numbers. And it's completely like you just click connect and it's done, like, and you're dialed in. Resurfacing is our biggest feature really for this year. And like I talked about cleaning up the pipeline, we want you to like inbox zero, right? Everybody's heard of that kind of terminology, like pipeline zero, right? Pipeline zero means that I've said everybody that I've spoken to is either dead or disqualified for some reason, or under contract, right? That's the ultimate goal. Almost impossible because you're constantly bringing in new leads. So you have to move through that pipeline. But the goal is to get them all the way to the end, either out of the pipeline or one. And so what resurfacing does is it makes it easy for you to move people out of the pipeline, but come back in later when they're actually ready to sell. So if they say, I'm going on the market, I'm doing a listing agent, I'm not ready to sell right now, I'm not interested, you can have that lead come back at a certain point in time in the future and back into your pipeline. It's almost like it's a lead generation inside of the product, as opposed to you saying, I've got these 500 things that I'm following up with. Well, I've just got these 100, and these other 100 are going to pop back up at the right time when I need to call them. Mini dashboards are all about making it easy for people to see what they're doing in the system every day and keeping up with their KPIs. Shortcuts with push to and messaging and task templates. We want to make it easy for people to process through the system and do functionality within it, as well as workflows. That's all about, is making it easy for you to navigate through the system and what you need to do with the seller. Transactions management, I mentioned that. That's like our newest thing. It's currently in beta. It's open for anybody that's interested in coming into the beta. But it's all about making different pipelines and statuses for different exit strategies, wholesaling, novations, if you can list with inside of your company, and being able to separate those exit strategies for those deals that you get under contract. It's a really robust system, and it's constantly improving right now inside of its beta. We're releasing a feature in a week for that, where you can attach as unlimited contacts in different categories, things like interested buyer, realtor, construction manager, so on and so forth. Really exciting stuff. And then there's 30 other things that we've done this year that just like smaller little things that are all about making it easier for our users to learn the system, use the system, and get deals under contract.
I love it. I love it. And we're going to talk, guys, in a little bit, like I said, about what's coming next. So we're going to be bringing on a couple amazing customers here in a second. Let me look at my list and make sure I'm doing things right here. So one thing I do want to show you guys is, if you're on the live view page, if you're not, if my team, could you guys put a link through the with the live view page on there? And Kevin, we'll answer that question for sure. Actually, let me just toss it over to you, John and Carlos, right now. Kevin's one of our clients. He's on our customer advisory board, and he's asking, would this work well for a retail agent? And what's your guys' take on that? Do we have retail agents using the platform successfully? And then also, is there any kind of thoughts on how we may or may not serve that side different or better in the future?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. We do have some retail agents that are using it. I do think that some of the structure of the system is designed more for off-market deals in terms of how it progresses through the action system. Mm-hmm. But that's the beauty of what we've done, right? So we've built a CRM with an action system that is targeted at investors right now. But the core concept of it is the action-based system. It's unique to any other CRM that you've ever seen out there. And that's what's exciting about partnering with Carrot and its focus on moving into the agent space. Like, we're going to be right there with that and helping build an action-based system for verticals like agents. But we do have people out there that are on our space using it. And it's, especially if you're a blend, if you're an investor and an agent, then it works really, really great, because we have some functionality inside of it where you can either push deals externally to other people on your team, into different groups. So you can have a listing and group inside of your opportunities that's just, hey, these are the ones that were listed. So somebody else takes all of that. There's a lot of ways for it to fit into that system.
Yep. And Kevin, that's a good question, because on the retail side versus kind of the direct to seller marketing side, oftentimes the retail agent systems are really about the long-term relationship building. So you'll put like the person's birthday in there, their anniversaries, and then it kind of kicks up those reminders. That's not how this system is built right now, and it may or may not be that way ever, right? Because we really focus on the seller experience. If a seller's coming in here, how do we now guide that seller through that path? But then, like John said, there's the disposition side, which is more focused on the investor side of disposition. So we've got a deal done, and now let's collect that list of cash buyers, and which you can do through Carrot. We have thousands and thousands of buyers that are coming through our system every month with our clients using their cash buyer website. Let's collect those cash buyers, shove them into InvestorFuse, and then now once a deal is done, you can text message, email those cash buyers, even potentially based on criteria of what they're looking for to sell that deal. So that's what it's really focused on. But if you're looking for you're trickling up the birthdays and things like that to be able to get a retail home seller or buyer to circulate back through, not built for that right now, for sure.
Correct.
Cool. Well, guys, what we're going to do now is we're going to make a shift, and we're going to bring on a couple of amazing customers. I'll give a really brief introduction to the customers, then we'll make that transition to that part of the call. And we will do a little bit of a demo too. After we bring the customers on, our members, we'll do a little bit of a demo, because you guys might be wondering, well, shoot, it's the first time I've seen InvestorFuse, or maybe all that you remember seeing was 1.0 or 2.0. And let's give you a little bit of a tour of 3.0, and have Carlos and John talk about what are some of the things that are really most impactful right now for our clients. And so the two customers we're bringing on are Tyler and Brandon, guys. And like I said, and Tyler and Brandon have very, very different businesses. Tyler's been a Carrot customer for probably 4 or 5 years now. He can probably give me the exact date. And he went from being a stressed out investor agent to, we were on a call yesterday and just really talking about how it's changed his life and changed his business. And he had a chance to join InvestorFuse just recently, several months back, to really better automate his business. He doesn't have a big team. It's mainly him. He works with other agents. But if he wants to go on vacation or do other things, how do you then win back that time using systems and automation? He's doing that with InvestorFuse. And then Brandon is on the other side of it, where he's got a big sales team. He's really scaled things up well. And how does InvestorFuse really help that type of business scale things well, organize things better? So we're going to bring the clients on. We've got a little transition screen, and then we'll bring the two amazing dudes on. Cool. So guys, if you guys are just joining the live stream, I'm just going to kind of reiterate a couple things I said. I'm Trevor with Carrot, and we recently had a chance to acquire an amazing company called InvestorFuse. So what we do here at Carrot is we help you guys get the leads. We help you guys attract off-market inbound leads through the internet, and they're oftentimes the highest converting, most profitable leads. But the gap that we really had was we always had clients coming our way saying, amazing, how do you follow up with them? Do you have a system that does follow up? Do you have a system that can help me manage the leads beyond the simple lead manager with Carrot? And one of the biggest systems that people had used over the years with our system was InvestorFuse. And so we had a chance to dive in with InvestorFuse this past year, and we acquired the company, and we're really going to be taking it to the next level. But you guys might be asking, so how does InvestorFuse work? Who's it for? Well, there's a couple avatars, and I've got Tyler and Brandon on here, and we're going to kind of dig into how they're using it for their businesses, because they both probably use it in different ways. And whether you're a solo operator and you're looking to win back more time and get some systems in place so you can go on bike rides or do 100-mile bike rides like Tyler does, or if you're looking to build a team and scale that team and have better organization and really ensure that you don't have any leads get left behind, you can close more of those deals like Brandon. Then we're going to talk about how he uses it. So whether you're a solo person or you're really building and scaling a team, whether you're in one market or multiple markets, there's different functionality with InvestorFuse that can help you do both. So I'm going to introduce you guys. We got Mr. Brandon Peterson. Brandon, why don't you give 1 to 2 minute, who are you? What's your business look like, man? And then we'll go to Tyler. Then we'll kind of go to each one of you individually to talk about how you're using InvestorFuse for follow-up. But Brandon, who are you, man? What's your business do? And what's the business look like?
So for the purposes of this, man, I mean, I've been doing wholesaling for quite a while now. Mm-hmm. And, I got a full-fledged team we run everything in-house. I don't like to outsource anything. And I grew up a salesman, so I was always looking for a true salesman platform, something that focuses truly on the salesperson. And we're over here in Florida, but I run everything virtually. The only people I keep in my office are admin. And obviously me, and everything else is run throughout the world virtually. And that's why I use the InvestorFuse system, because I'm able to control my sales team and their follow-ups and their tasks or actions all through that system.
Dude, I love it. And I want to kind of tease this out. So I'm going to make an adjustment really quick. We're going to dive in deep on Brandon, then Tyler, we're going to move to Tyler. So on this here, Brandon, so people have context, you mentioned you have a sales team. What's the size of the sales team approximately? Kind of how many people do you have using InvestorFuse to grow the business?
So we run it a little different. So I have my follow-up specialist and my acquisitions inside of there.
Okay.
So, and with our training program, we're always onboarding. So we're always looking to grow and train new agents. So right now we're up to about 3 agents.
Yep.
We have our sales manager. We also have our training manager who uses it as well. So it's not just salespeople that are in there. We have our entire companies using it. We even have our marketing people in there pulling out KPIs, and from the dashboard, we have our data person in there pulling out everything. So that way we can have our KPIs for our manager meeting. So my entire team has logins into the InvestorFuse system just for that purpose.
I love it, dude. Let's kind of break down. So what type of marketing are you guys using? So that way people can see, hey, here's the marketing that we're doing. Here's how it comes into InvestorFuse. And then after that, we'll kind of dive into what are some of the things that you guys are doing to improve that follow-up through InvestorFuse. I know resurfacing was a big thing that you're working with John on, and they made that reality. But what type of marketing do you guys focus on specifically first?
So for us, we focus. So because of the way we run our team, we have our own virtual call center. So cold calling is huge for us. Then we do direct mail, and we also do RVMs. Check the legality in your area for RVMs. But for us, we've determined we wanted to do RVMs.
Yep.
And we have all those pipe in. We also have a Carrot website for SEO. I don't really run paid ads through it, but we link all of our direct mail with our website on there for them to be able to go and credibility verify who we are through our Carrot site. Yep. And we run a lot of our stuff that way too. And our people are trained to be able to give out that Carrot site with a verified opportunity. So that way they can kind of get our credibility, know who we are. So that's the only thing we do with our website is SEO organic traffic. And that's kind of how we do. Now, resurfacing is huge. That's where our follow-up specialists come in. So like within IF3, the thing what a lot of people got to understand is IF3 is different than a lot of other systems because I can separate all of my leads. There's no other system that does that. And so what IF3 does is it allows you in any way that you want, group your leads or opportunities, prospects, whatever you want to call them, into different segments or silos. I call them buckets personally.
Yep.
And so with the resurfacing, my team is trained to be able to move leads down the pipeline or out the pipeline confidently. Before, you'd have a lot of salespeople, Trevor, who were nervous to release leads from their queue because they didn't want to give them up. They were afraid they might miss an opportunity. Well, with resurfacing, it's like marketing. It's like a whole other marketing channel. So when they move it out the pipeline, we go through and set time-based rules of, 3 months, 6 months, 1 week, or 2 days as to when it resurfaces. And what we do is we resurface it into our follow-up specialist bucket. And then that follow-up specialist goes through and retouches that lead as if it was a new marketing material or a new marketing lead. And so that is kind of like a whole other marketing channel for us, I guess. Yeah. So I add that onto the queue of what we do.
Dude, what a lot of people do that I've seen, they'll put leads in, and where people think about follow-up is they think I've got a lead in, then I'm going to put them on this perpetual sequence, right? It's going to message them every month or every 6 months or whatever it is. And that's where most people consider follow-up done. But like what you're saying is they might still go on a campaign, maybe not, but it's actually more effective to say at this time, I want to bring them back in just like they're a new lead so we can truly give them the full attention versus just having automations happening only behind the scenes. And
100%. I'm not a big fan. Listen, if I could sit here and argue with some people all day long about the automations. So I don't really use IF3's automations. I use their automated features where I allow the resurfacing of our leads, but we touch everything manually. That's what I have my team for, and we train them to do that. I don't want automated emails and text messages going out. My team is trained to do that manually and go out and recall those people and rebuild that rapport, essentially. I want them to go rebuild rapport, re-talk to them, because things changed. The resurfacing came about because when we were actually onboarding into the IF3 system, we were resurfacing and retouching all of our old Podio leads. Thank God I'm out of Podio. Oh, thank God. And I got a huge deal. I forget the dollar amount, but it was like 70, 80K we made. I can't think of the exact amount. It was huge. It was almost 6 figures. And I said to John, I was like, man, like there's all these leads sitting inside this system that my team has either put into some type of dead status of not interested, don't talk to me, whatever it is. And we forget about and we move on. But things change with them. You know, somebody doesn't have pain today, but somebody dies, divorce, bankruptcy, roof, a hurricane happens.
Yeah.
And we already have a verified phone number. We've already talked to them. We have notes, but we don't do anything. So we retouch all of them. The only ones we don't retouch is a do not call. Or sold, obviously. If you sell your house, we're going to leave you alone, maybe. But but no, I mean, seriously though, there is no reason why, for those except those two reasons, that we shouldn't be resurfacing or retouching every single lead in our system. And guess what? It's free.
Yep.
I don't need to spend marketing dollars on those. And if, depending on your data system, you should be able to pull out all of those things so you're not marketing them anymore. And so you save money that way. So that's kind of how we do it inside. So I have a perpetual, I call it like perpetual marketing with inside InvestorFuse with the people that I already pay anyway.
I love it, man. So I want to make one more comment in resurfacing. Then I want to see what other features you guys use that adds value. And we're continuing to work with you to improve things even more. But on the resurfacing side, we had our customer advisory board here at Carrot yesterday, and one of our clients is on there, just moved to InvestorFuse, and the team had sent through a note. Alex on our team was checking it out so we could dive in to find out ways we can further improve all of our products. And that client said, I love it, but I added all my leads in, and now they're all in the new category. He goes, yeah, but I guess I'll just like sift them through. And what you're saying is like, that's actually not a bug. That's a feature. That's not a bug. That's a feature. It's like
100%.
Touch on them again. That's cool.
Why wouldn't you, right? Why wouldn't you want to touch on them, right? I mean, that's just money sitting there. I always refer to InvestorFuse as our ATM.
Yep.
I mean, they're just sitting there. All you got to do is punch the buttons in, right? And cash comes out.
I love it, man. Well, what else do you and the team use in InvestorFuse? You had mentioned that the marketing team pulls metrics out of there. Kind of what are some of the things on a weekly basis you guys use? And then we'll dive over to Tyler. So
one of the big, man, you asked me a loaded question because I could just keep going with a couple of the features. So one of the things, because you touched on KPIs, is the dashboard. So what I like, if people are trying to figure out, obviously you're trying to, bundle this together with things. And if people are on the fence about making a decision to use InvestorFuse, how I always relate it to people is it's a salesperson system. It's not an all-in-one. This is for a sales team. And one of the most important sales team features that is added in here is it's like a scorecard. Right across the top of your screen, you open it up, your user or your agent, salesperson, can see some key metrics that my team, I grade on every single day. We touch on it in our morning meeting. How many people have you dialed? How many people have you contacted? So we have over 1 minute calls, right? Or just around 1 minute calls as a contact. Over 5 minute calls is like a process call, right? How many offers have you made? And then obviously how many contracts and how many deals. But we touch on those all the time because dials lead to contacts, right? Lead to the talk time, and how much talk time you have tells me whether you can get through our sales process to make those offers. And then the offers lead to contracts. And so it's really cool because it's at the top of the screen, and my agents use that. In fact, they'll send me screenshots of what they're doing throughout the day just to show me where they're at on their metrics, because I give them key metrics that they have to meet daily and weekly. And that scorecard allows us to do that.
I love it.
And then the only other thing, I'm just going to throw this out there because of the way the market conditions are, in the shifting market, Trevor, a lot of people are struggling with just wholesaling in general and offering that cash offer. So what John actually came up with was this feature. It's called Push To. And so what that allows is, depending on the agent that you have on the phone, if you train them to identify certain types of leads, like creative leads. So we do seller financing. We just had our team do a training on seller financing. And then Eric Brewer's Novation course. We use that Push To function to push leads from one group or bucket and one agent over to somebody that's more qualified to handle that without having that agent get confused of what to assign it to, what the buttons to push. It's just one drop down, Push To, and we could push it over to a creative person, a Novation person, somebody to negotiate seller financing. And it's all pretty seamless, especially since we're moving more away from that cash offer model and more into a multi-offer model.
Dude, so that's huge right there. And especially if you guys have a team, even if the team's just one other person or two other people, that what Brandon had mentioned before, the bucketing capability of InvestorFuse is unmatched. If you're in two different markets, let's say we have a lot of our clients getting leads in all kinds of different markets. You're in two different markets, three different markets. You can actually create separate groups essentially, where there's this one group for the Florida market and there's one for Texas or whatever the markets are. Then you can have your people in there. They don't have to be your employees. It could be your partner. And we're going to talk about this with Tyler here in a second, where when he goes out of town, what he does with InvestorFuse to be able to work through those deals and have accountability for that person on the ground who's not an employee. But you can have those people. It could be real estate agents. Keith Sant uses InvestorFuse and has his agents in there as users. So when a lead gets processed through and they discover it's a retail lead, awesome, it gets assigned to the agent inside of the InvestorFuse system. So now Keith, as the client, can now monitor how that lead is happening, even though it's in the hands of that real estate agent who's handling on the retail listing side of it now. So guys, you don't have to send these out into the ether and hope that you get updates on what happens with those leads. Or like I said, you could have your teams separated by state, by lead type. You can, if you know that, man, I've got this person who's amazing as a salesperson, we want them to have the best leads. And then this person who's brand new, who's training, maybe we're going to give them these other leads. So you can kind of set those types of settings where you can send the types of leads to those people depending on their skill set or depending on that knowledge that they have, guys. So that's if you're growing a team and you have people with those multiple skill sets, teams, or you're in multiple regions, amazing opportunity to do that. Brandon, anything else, dude, high level that you want to toss out there for people as it relates to InvestorFuse?
I feel like I'm hogging the show, man. I'm good. Trevor, I could go on for hours with you on things that we use, and because I feel like people could say something about like the bucket system. And I just want to say that although there's a lot of people out there who probably don't want agents to have exclusivity over leads, the way InvestorFuse separates it is there's a lot of cool features that a manager can set up. And I think it's just important to let people know if they're hearing it and saying, well, why would I want people to silo off leads and only get access to the lead and no one else can see it? You're allowed to set rules on how many leads they can have, automatic releasing of leads if they're not doing their actions, what happens if they have an overdue action. So as a manager, you can really hone in. Like I said from the very beginning, it's a salesperson system. So it's very centered around how a true sales team operates.
I love it. And guys, if you guys have questions for Brandon, if you have a team or you're looking to build a team, even if the team's just one or two other people, pop in some questions and we can answer some of those. I'm going to shift over to Tyler. So Tyler Ford's in Tucson, Arizona. Tyler, why don't you introduce your business, kind of the scope of your business? Then we're going to dive in. You're newer to InvestorFuse. Brandon has been knee deep in it for quite a while. And then we'll talk about kind of why you joined it, what you're doing with it now. But what's the business look like, Tyler? What's the team look like? Because I think it's going to be very relevant for most of the people on this call. And how do you use it?
So Tyler Ford here, Tucson, Arizona, and I am an investor agent. I've been a licensed agent for going on 30 years. And I keep my business lean and mean. So it's just my wife and I. And I work both the retail side and the investment side, but I'd say 80% of what I do is on the investment side. And I have struggled over the last couple of years, especially when I joined Carrot and started getting all these leads coming in. And my wife and I like to disappear out of the Arizona summer heat when it's 110 in Tucson and head to the mountains. But over the last couple of years, it's a challenge that I've been discussing with Trevor is, being able to leave and then enjoy myself and not being tied into these leads and feel like I'm, generating all these leads, but then just, there would be a month or so where I just kind of turn everything off and I was missing out on a lot of money. So this summer, prior to leaving, I'd been on Podio since I joined Carrot. And although Podio, just for myself, it was good, but it was real limited in what I could do. So this summer I switched over to InvestorFuse and brought somebody in, and it was awesome. It's the first summer I've been able to go out of town and actually close deals, wholesale deals, and also get listings from those deals and get paid a referral fee. So over the last, this summer is really the first summer. I did deals from afar, but again, I just wasn't able to enjoy myself. And this is the first summer we've been able to leave and business as usual.
I love it. And you use the different the tool a little bit different than Brandon, right? There's different features you use for your needs. I remember a few weeks after you joined, you shot me a text message and you said, "Man, I already closed the deal." And I said, "Well, awesome! Like, from what on InvestorFuse?" And why don't you kind of describe that first deal that got closed with InvestorFuse automation that helped you out? And then what do you use in the tool right now that's been valuable?
One of my frustrations with Podio is, a lot of the things like they talked about earlier, you had to bring in all these party tools to actually work with Podio. Email wasn't integrated. You had to use Globe Email with Podio for email to work, and there was no way to text.
Yep.
And so I was losing out on, and I didn't realize how much I was losing out on. But so one of the first leads that came in through Podio, or I'm sorry, through InvestorFuse, when I first set it up, I started texting back and forth with this guy, and I actually was able to do the deal. He wasn't answering email or phone call, but I started texting him, and it was a deal that I actually closed on. I took it down and hoteled it in the MLS and made about 30K on that deal. But it was a result of the texting feature that I never was able to do inside Podio that InvestorFuse allows you to do. So everything's integrated into one system, email and text, which is awesome.
And you've got certain templates essentially for the leads. Kind of how are you using that automation? And the cool thing about this, guys, is we have two guys with very different businesses, and they use the tool in different ways, and they're still getting the value. Brandon uses resurfacing a lot and really has the sales team approach and doesn't use the automated email and text a lot, or maybe not at all, but uses the tool in a really good way to organize the team. Tyler's using automations a lot as part of the strategy. So what do you usually send out, or what does the system send out when a lead comes in, and how do you handle that?
Well, like Brandon, I don't do a lot of the sequences, but one of the features that when I came over to InvestorFuse, that I actually missed on Podio, and Carlos was great. He jumped right in, and actually there was a feature on Podio where you could do what I call one-up emails. So in any real estate transaction, there's always things that happen over and over and over again. It's the same question. And with Podio, I could set the email up to answer a specific thing over and over and over again. So with InvestorFuse, you can set up one-up emails and or texts. So based on, a situation, let's say somebody owes more than what the property's worth. You can set up what I call a one-up that says, hey, unfortunately, your property's worth less than you owe. Would you be willing to come out of pocket? And or would you be willing to do a short sale, which then I can get it over to the proper person. So I've gone into InvestorFuse and set up all these one-up situations. So as you're going through leads, you can quickly just go in based on the situation and send out a very specific type of email and or text that's not a part of the automation. So automations are great, but sometimes they can be impersonable. Just because, based on the situation, they could get an email or a text that has nothing to do with the situation that they're in. So the minute you get off the phone with somebody and or text, I go in based on the templates that I got set up and just push that out immediately. And if there's a template that I don't have, I can go in, easily create it, and they're just sitting there. So with the push of the button, you can work through leads very effectively based on the situation that they're
I love it. So I want to respect your guys' time, and we'll wrap this part of it here. But the impact that this tool has been able to have on both of their businesses has really added up. I know for Tyler, it's a big time savings thing. It allows him to have freedom, like you mentioned, to where when leads come in, I remember the phone call we had about a year ago, and we're in beta on our we're calling it Carrot Patch in beta, but our lead selling service. So that's something we're in beta on testing, which came from conversations with you and others. But we were talking, and you're like, man, I'm going out of town, and all these leads are just coming in and sitting there, and I'm not really able to process them well. And so now moving over to InvestorFuse, and you have a local person who's able to take some of those. And why don't you kind of spend a minute talking about that, Tyler, that addition you've made that now is easier with InvestorFuse, that person who can take those leads.
Yeah, so I added on a really awesome person. And the thing about my model, I'm an investor and an agent. So I can wear both hats depending on the lead that comes in. And a lot of times, the best scenario for somebody is to list their home in the MLS where they're going to net the most amount of money. And we're all about doing, the right thing. So the person that I brought in is also an investor agent. And so he can work both sides of the leads. And so like this summer when I left, we have an agreement, and he and I sat down and did every single scenario that you could possibly play out. And so one of the scenarios is he meets with the person and we convince that person that the best thing for them to list is. And so I let him do the listing. I'm the co-listing agent, and then I get a portion and the referral fee. And with EXP, I also get some revenue share. So it's been awesome in a sense that, depending on how that lead comes in, I can work with an agent as well. So if listing is the right thing for somebody, I can push that lead over to him as an agent, and he can go get the listing, which we're doing.
I love it, guys. Any final comments for people watching this, whether they're going to use InvestorFuse or not? We're not talking about the tool specifically as the only solution. It's an amazing solution, but we're talking about saving time and really winning more of your time back and winning more deals as well, which this tool helps you do amazingly well. But Brandon, Tyler, any parting words?
Now, just listening to Brandon, I still have a lot to learn. So I'm excited to dive into some of the things that I'm not using.
Yeah.
Listen, man, you say that, but I've sat here and I brainstormed. I've been pretty deep in IF3. I did not know I could do one-off emails. And I just came up with an idea of how we could send our credibility kit out and set up a one-off email with a credibility kit for my team as we're locking up an offer or a contract. And so I just learned from you, man, just being on this call, and I was sitting here and I was like, I could do that. That's a pretty cool feature. I'll get that set up. So my team now just can one click and that credibility kit goes off and it's all pre-formed. I'll have to get with Carlos and figure out why he didn't pitch that on me.
It's just a couple months ago, I was begging for it. I'm like, I missed this feature. And so sure enough,
that's pretty cool, man.
So it's text or email.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys big time and coming on to share. I know y'all are busy, but Brandon, thank you, man, for hopping on with us. Tyler, thank you for hopping on as well. I'm pumped to keep working with you guys and improving both products together. But y'all, let's give Brandon and Tyler a good send off, a good round of applause. Pop in the comments box to thank you. And we're going to bring John and Carlos back in. And thank you, Brandon and Tyler. Have an amazing day, guys. I appreciate y'all. Going to bring. And John back on, and thank you guys. Thanks for popping in a note to Brandon and Tyler. Welcome back on, guys. We've got John and Carlos here. So we're going to kind of move to a wrap now. We're going to talk about what's coming next, and we will talk about the bundled pricing that we now have the ability to do at Carrot, since both companies are one, to save you guys some money. Like I said, there's a lot of talk, especially as the market adjusts. One of our strategies 3 years ago that we were looking at with Carrot, we said, we know the market's going to shift. It wasn't a matter of if it was going to shift, it was when. And we also looked at it and said, well, how do we serve companies better in a market shift when it might get difficult for some customers, or if inflation goes up? Oftentimes the first things business people think about is, how can I cut expense, right? And what we wanted to do is we said, well, let's think years ahead. How do we make sure we're serving our clients better, so the expenses that they have, the investments they have with us, are the ones that they want to keep, right? They're the ones that are working so well for their business. And so we're going to help you guys save money heading into this market cycle. But John, I want to toss over to you, and then Carlos, I've got some questions for you as well. What's coming next? And then let's bring up the screen, give a quick demo, maybe of a couple of those things that they had mentioned. The stat screen's kind of cool. Maybe go through and show the action-based system. But what's coming next down the roadmap?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we're in such an exciting time for building into the product. Is we're all about right now, like, what are the features that are going to save you time? And then what are the features that are going to ultimately help you make more money and grow your team? And so we've got a mobile app that we've been working on for quite a few months now, and it'll be coming out this month, kind of in a beta format, and we'll kind of keep growing. Joe, what's up, Joe? We'll kind of keep growing the mobile app and adding features into that. Goal planning and tracking. So you heard Brandon talk about the KPIs and how important that is. We're taking that to now a business level, right? Like, what is it that I want to make? Let the system go in and say, okay, hey, based off of how you've functioned in the system, and even versus benchmarks, to say, okay, this is how many contracts you need, how many offers, appointments, opportunities, leads, and then being able to divide that amongst your employees and basically build you a path to that end goal. Like, I want to make X amount of dollars in this year, being able to build that in, and that will be out ready for next year for you to kind of put in your goals for 2023 and see how that all will relate to your people inside of InvestorFuse. Dialer integration of the action system. So we're currently integrated into smartphone's dialer. It's pretty cool. You can upload your overdue and due today actions and then just hit dial, single line dial through them, just kind of speed up that flow. But what we're doing is based off of the result, unsuccessful or successful, it can come back into the system and automatically complete the action that you just called and assign another one based off of the logic that you choose. And there are a lot of CRMs out there currently and coaches that talk about dialers being a way to speed up what you have to do, but there's, as far as I'm aware, no other system out there that can help you define, well, sure, I was just able to like pull this view of here are my leads, and I dialed them all, but like, when do I dial them next? Are you going to dial the same group tomorrow? Or do you need to give some space between those leads depending upon the type of situation that they're in and where they are in your pipeline? And that's what tying the dialer system to an action-based system can do for you, is to say that, this is call attempt number 2. I'm going to do call attempt number 3 tomorrow. But if it's call attempt number 5, I'm going to give that 4 days to rest. And then I'll call them in 4 days. And you don't even have to think about it. It'll just do it all itself. Inbox, like I said, speed. So our action system is great at telling you, hey, you got to do this today. And currently, inbound seller responses from any lead generation, we integrate with over 75 different sources out there, including Carrot, which we haven't even talked about on this call yet, but we have an amazing integration with Carrot that we built that is now live. And it pulls in all the forms on your entire Carrot site, brings in all of the entries. If you go into the Carrot and add a new field, it will hold those like entries inside of InvestorFuse. You remap them, and then it will just flow through. You don't have to touch Zapier. You don't have to buy anything.
Mm-hmm.
Just connect it with the API, and it works really simple and easy. It's a phenomenal integration. But so bringing all that together, right? Like, we treat any new inbound communication from Carrot, from smartphone, from CallRail, from RI reply, just the list goes on, as, hey, you need to respond to the seller. Maybe they're not texting you back, but maybe they went to your website and filled out a form again. Maybe they didn't even realize that it was you again that they're talking to. And so we want to bubble all of that up into just one place that shows you, here are the sellers you need to talk to. And go talk to them now, and what action might you need to change based off the communication that you're having with that seller. And then finally, doing some deep stuff with calendars. Like, imagine the ability to say, hey, I've blocked off my dentist appointment tomorrow. Therefore, I will not be able to book any calls during my dentist, because we'll be able to read your calendar and show you, hey, only when you're on the phone with a seller and you're saying, hey, I'm going to call you back you will show you your live calendar, and you can say, I'm going to call you back at 3 because I'm at the dentist in the morning or whatever.
I love it.
Just a lot of really exciting stuff going on. And I didn't put it on here, but speed as well, like just general improvements inside of the application, making sure it's always working well for our users, and it's quick for them to navigate through, quick for them to process leads and get deals under contract.
Love it, love it. Well, guys, let's give like maybe a 5-minute tour. I know it's a short one, but what we want to do, guys, is kind of give you a taste of it. 5-minute overview, and then you can hop on a call with Carlos and do a live demo if you want to. We'll give a link below, or actually on this live view page, you're going to see a couple links. Now, if you're not ready to click one of those and you still have questions, you're like, dude, I'd really love to see how this can help my business, a live demo with Carlos. Team, if you can grab that live demo link, the one that we set up on our end, where you can learn how to bundle the 2 products together, Carrot and InvestorFuse. We'll pop that link through. I don't think it's on the page, but if you're like ready, if you're like, dude, I'm already a Carrot customer and I know that I want to get InvestorFuse, there's an order form right there for all you fast action takers. It's right there. But if you want to take a demo and just kind of see what it's like, a live demo with Carlos and probably Levi from our team to see how the 2 systems can work together and you get that bundled pricing, we'll send a link through here. But yeah, John, Carlos, why don't you guys give a 5-minute tour of the highlights, and then they can get the deep one with either the online demo or a demo with Carlos and team.
Absolutely. All right, so this is the action system. So if you've been in any other kind of CRM, it's all about the status, right? You just hear like change the status, select this button, and it'll change the status. There are statuses in our system, but that's not how you interact with these opportunities. It's all done via the action system. So this right here is call new lead. So when I open this up, go ahead, there we go. It's got a tree. So this is what we talk about with our action decision tree. So you're basically answering questions to InvestorFuse about what you're currently doing with this lead. I got to call them and you. Did I get a hold of them? If I got a hold of them, it's like, all right, you've got information to maybe adjust or add with this lead. But if I didn't get a hold of them, it's like, all right, fine. The next thing you need to do is call a temp tomorrow. You just hit complete action. And so I'm assigning that action for me tomorrow. The whole process from lead coming in to going under contract is in this tree. And so you got things like all the call attempts to follow up a seller, which is just a generic, hey, I talked to them and they want me to call them back at a certain time, to the offer process. You can send contracts through the system, follow up on those offers, see how much you're offering. All of that is built into this decision tree, and it just makes it so much easier for you, a team, to go through and make sure that you're doing what you told that lead that you're going to do. I think like the stat is like you can only remember like 100 or some like leads or something like that, and then it's just like you just totally forget. So we make it really easy. You can open these notes up, like add in notes. This whole info page here has so much information about how it came in, what campaign it came from. You got an entire activity and communication log. You can see a timeline, like how many times have I touched this lead? When was the last touch? There's a lot of information to give you context to have a great conversation with the seller and move the deal forward. And you heard Brandon talk about the mini dashboard. That's this up here at the top of the screen. So I can see what I'm doing today. What is it that myself am I doing? How many actions have I completed? What's my speed to lead? How many ops have I touched? Inbound calls, all of that through smartphone. And then, Brandon didn't actually talk about it, but he said that his employees sent him screenshots. Well, as the owner of the account, as a manager in it, you have an employee scorecard to go in and see what they are all doing, and it will show up here. With all the stats, it's loading all of the information. So I'm going to go somewhere else, but you can see it in a day view, a week view, a month view, a quarter view, and including a detail view, and it will all just populate in there. Carlos, is there anything that you feel like you're usually one doing demos, but what else is like something key that is great to talk about?
Man, I'm thinking of a guy, Matt, that signed up actually, and he didn't have a CRM in place before. And he thought that he was doing a good job just emailing a lead that came in from Carrot like 4 hours later. Like if he was same day, he was good. I was like, man, you can set up an auto response, have a custom text that goes out that can include their first name, any custom field. You took your speed to lead from 4 hours to 4 seconds essentially. Yeah. So I get fired up just talking to you guys. I'm the lightest sales pressure guy at all. I'd be happy just to talk about like little tweaks like that. Would get fired up to see if you can help, but every marketing tool you can custom route, and then kind of like an optional bonus that I love for digital marketing where you're getting their property address, their name, why they're selling, all that stuff, like a Carrot lead. You can shoot them a custom text and have that just go out automated every time in addition to the call new lead action.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had a good point there, Carlos. And this is the way that I like to look at things, guys. So when we had Tyler on here and Brandon on here, I'm a big ROI guy, and whenever we're looking at investments in the company, the first thing I say is, well, what's our goal, right? Here's our goal. Will this save me time? Will this buy back me time? And how will this help us get to the goal? And what's the return on investment? If I can get a better ROI investing into this than I can in something else, keeping my money in the bank account or my 15% interest I get on my private loans or whatever, then I'm going to go make that investment. And so with InvestorFuse, in that one example, adding that one tweak that Carlos had mentioned to your Carrot leads or any other lead type that you have. But when you're doing Google pay-per-click specifically in SEO, you've got a 5-minute window. Like really the 5-minute window is that window that you've got to be able to get back to that lead insanely fast to start the conversation. Where we'll talk with people and say, man, PPC isn't working for me. The first thing we say is, how fast are you calling those leads back? Or are you answering them live? Well, dude, I'm getting back to them really fast, like 5 minutes, or no, let's say like 15 or 20 minutes. Like, dude, that's not fast. 15 or 20 minutes, they're already probably talking with somebody else. And so you can automate that first touch with their name. It's a very personal looking text message. Hey, Mark, we got your call, or we got your submission online. Can you talk in the next 5 minutes? Can you talk in the next 10 minutes? Whatever it is. and then get them to engage, because now you've got them really, you got their attention, you can work with them now. So the reason I bring up ROI, that one thing, let's say that one little feature saves you, it makes you one extra deal every 2 years. Let's just say every extra 2 years, and your average profit per deal is $20,000. Guys, that one deal is going to pay for your InvestorFuse account for somewhere around like 7 years or so. Okay, 5 to 7 years, maybe even a little bit more, depending on the plan that you've got. That one feature can pay for your InvestorFuse account for 5 to 7, maybe even close to 10 years, y'all. Okay, so if you start to make decisions like this, how can I add this brick, stack this brick into my business to win back more deals? You're going to start to do that, win back more time and win back more deals, and make InvestorFuse essentially free at that point, because it's doing work for you. That doesn't even consider the cost, or the cost of using your own time to do things you're doing manually that InvestorFuse can do easier, or save you time. That doesn't consider the VA that you have, or the employee that you have that is getting paid $20-25 an hour if they're a local American-based employee, or even more, and how much time they're wasting using inefficient systems. Even that, if they're wasting 10 hours a month using inefficient systems, and you move over to InvestorFuse and save that time, that pays for InvestorFuse. Okay, guys, so there's so many ways to look at it. Toss back over to you, John and Carlos. Any other final things to wrap here? And then what we'll do is we'll show you guys how you can bundle and save, give you a couple links if anyone's wanting to dive in and do a demo with Carlos and or Levi on our team. And we'd love to work with you guys. You're going to hear a lot more from the InvestorFuse crew, and we're going to be finding more and more ways to help you guys close more leads and deals.
Yeah, I think the last thing I just want to talk about real quick is just this campaign KPIs, because you talked a lot about like the cost of me running marketing, what's my average deal size. A lot of people don't really know how to calculate that, how to find that information. This does it all for you, and that's the other beauty of an action-based system, right? Is like there's no way to mess up changing the status. Did I do the right status at the right time on this opportunity? You're always saying, what do I have to do next with the action-based system? And the action-based system powers your KPIs. So if you come in here, you can create as many campaigns as you want, and you have the ability to put in cost, right? So like, what is it costing me to run my Carrot site, to do my PPC, to do my direct mail? And then via different time frames here, you can understand how many opportunities are coming in, how many are going to appointments, to offers, and getting your cost per deal, your cost per opportunity, your cost per leads, all within inside of here, and getting totals as well. So it just does it all for you. All you have to do is call leads and progress through the action-based system, and you will have the information you need to make informed decisions about your business.
I love it. So guys, we're gonna move to a wrap, but I'm gonna show you a couple things. And so you might be asking, well, what can I do next? And InvestorFuse, Carrot, we are not high pressure salespeople. We deliver a great product. We want to help you guys build businesses of freedom and impact, and we want you to make good, informed decisions. So we want you guys to make a decision to make your lead management follow-up better going into this next year. Because when you do, especially in a tougher market with some of you, the more you can squeeze out of your current lead flow, the better. If you get 1 or 2 extra deals, just like what Tyler had mentioned, or just like what Brandon had mentioned when resurfacing was invented, you might actually close a deal like Brandon when you migrate over to InvestorFuse. Like, that's our dream, is you get all your past leads in there. They're going to be in the new bucket, process them like normal now, and see if you can't pull a deal out of there. So that's a feature, not a bug. And so when you pop in here, there's a couple things. If you're like ready and you're not a Carrot customer right now at all, and you want to join Carrot and InvestorFuse, there's a link here to join at the bundle discounted rate for advanced marketers. So we're going to give you guys, I think it's a 10% discount on both, which can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars per year when you bundle the two. So this is if you're not a Carrot customer. The bundle pricing activates at the advanced marketer plan, and it activates at the top 2 plans with InvestorFuse. So as long as you've got the advanced marketer plan with Carrot, you qualify on the Carrot side with the bundle pricing. And then as long as you have one of the top 2 plans with InvestorFuse, the Pro, or what's the name of the
Premium.
top one? Yep, that's right. So you grab one of those top 2, we're going to give you that 10% discount on both products. So if you're already a Carrot customer and you're like, dude, I'd really love to add InvestorFuse to it, you can go through this and you can add it to the mix. Now we're going to be adding you, I think it's at the Pro account level. We're going to charge you the one-time setup fee where the team's going to do all that work, getting that integration set up for you and getting your existing leads into the system and helping you get things set up. But then you're going to be able to process those leads, hopefully get some good conversations going, and maybe even close a deal from those past leads. You can add it to your account. If you're just not ready, or you're like, dude, I'd just love to hop on a call with them, we're going to send the link through again, but you can set up a call with both of our teams, the InvestorFuse team and the Carrot team, and just kind of chat. Say, hey, here's where I'm at. Here's what it looks like, and our team can show you what the tools can do for you. So go schedule a demo, pop into here, learn about how InvestorFuse can work with Carrot with your business. You can still qualify for that same bundled discount. We're going to be coming out with some really, really cool things over the next 3, 6, 9, 10, 12 months between the two products. So schedule your demo though, guys. Hop on with our team, and we're pumped to work with y'all. So I'm gonna lead to an end. I'm insanely excited, guys. When we started looking at the opportunity to help our clients now step into that next part of the deal stage, we help you get leads, and the most motivated leads here at Carrot, and InvestorFuse helps you close those leads into deals. And so when you marry the two up together, especially heading into a recession or more challenges in some parts of the market, you've really got to tighten your systems up. No longer can we have a system like at Podio where there's a bunch of things falling through the cracks or it's wasting too much of your time. And this is a chance to win back that time as the market's shifting, so you can save money and save your time and close more deals. Another thing with it, guys, is oftentimes people look at getting more leads. What if you could just close more of your existing leads into deals? Focus on that first. And that's what InvestorFuse helps you do so well. So Carlos can hop on with you and show you exactly what it can do. And I think for the people who are on Podio, it's like the easiest, probably most no-brainer for most of you to make that move. Just like Tyler, just like Brandon did, came from Podio. Simplify your business, and really, it's going to be cheaper for you in the long run because you're going to win back more revenue. If you're on a different system, then hop on with Carlos and kind of walk through what pains you're feeling in that other system, see if InvestorFuse can solve it for you. So, Carlos, John, any final words, man, for the audience? And I'm absolutely pumped to be working with you guys.
Yeah, I'm super excited as well. I think this is a great partnership, and I love the Carrot team and everything they can do. The only thing I have to add is that I want you to understand how plug and play it is, as well as setup. A lot of people are like, man, switching to a new CRM is hard. We have an entire team that does the setup for you. All you got to do is come to some calls, tell us some information, give us some logins, and then we will get you into that system as fast as a speeding train. There we go.
Love it. I love it. And there's a couple questions. So Jose asking the question, is that $500 a month? So this right here is not the $548 a month. So there's a one-time setup fee with InvestorFuse, because just like Brandon had mentioned, when you're migrating all of your leads over, there's some work. There's a lot of work that's involved. So our team's going to take that off your lap. So rather than you investing several hours into it, which your time is worth way more than $147 for that several hours, our team is going to be able to do that. That's a one-time. And then our advanced marketer plan is normally $199 a month at Carrot. That's our premium plan that includes our premium support, all of our marketing features, our premium website designs. That alone is a massive, massive deal. But then the InvestorFuse account, that's a discounted rate there as well. So normally this one is is that normally $250 or so?
$247, yeah.
Yep. So this is normally $247 a month. This is normally $199 a month. You're getting both of those at a discount, and this is not the monthly rate. This is what you'd pay to get going, including the fee, and then your monthly would be the $190 or the $179 plus $222, which is a discount on both products. Good question, though. Yeah, it's not $500 a month though. It's less than $500 a month. I guess what would that be? That'd be right at $400, which is a good savings. Good question.
401. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Amazing. And you guys can join InvestorFuse at a lower price too. So if you guys want to join Carrot at a lower plan and InvestorFuse at the intro plan, which is where Tyler joined originally. Tyler joined originally at the $147 a month plan. And then he saw some features on the higher plan that he just wanted to unlock. He unlocked them. And some of those features are actually what helped him close that deal. So he's paying a little over $200 a month right now for InvestorFuse, and he's paying a little over $200 a month for Carrot. But total combined, that $300 to $400 a month he's investing makes him somewhere between $300,000 and $500,000 a year, which as a solo guy, which is really, really cool. Awesome, y'all. I'm going to wrap up. What's up, Doris? Appreciate you. I've got a mastermind in the other room. I've got to dive into with some buddies. But Carlos, John, appreciate you guys. Pumped to see you guys here in Arizona in a few months to work together on some things. But guys, check it out. Go schedule a demo with Carlos and Levi on our team to learn how we can help you guys out. Bundle the pricing at our highest price or at the premium plan types in here. And either way, guys, even if you don't go for that bundle pricing offer, give us feedback. How can we help you even more? How can we help make both products even better and more compelling? We're here to help you guys crush it. All right, guys, thank you. Have an amazing rest of the week. Tip one of these links or take a demo. We'll talk soon. See y'all.
Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. See you guys. Thank you guys.
Thank you.